Limburg an der Lahn is first mentioned in the year 910. King Louis the Child, King of East Francia and at the time 16 years old, gave the estate to Count Conrad, known as Kurzbold. It was a valuable gift. It was at the point that the Via Publica, a trade route linking Brussels and Prague, crossed the river Lahn. Conrad was a short man, but a military genius who won several important battles. It is said he was afraid of only two things: apples and women. It is also said that he killed a giant and, on another occasion, a lion. His tomb is in the cathedral, which is dedicated to St. George. Nothing of the original church survives, but the current building was consecrated in 1235. It wasn't, however, a cathedral until 1827, when the Diocese of Limburg was created. The architecture is basically late Romanesque, although some early Gothic influences can be made out. The building has 7 towers, symbolizing the number of sacraments in the Catholic tradition. In the 60s and 70s, traces of paint found on the stonework made it possible to recreate what was very likely its original appearance. Limburg Cathedral is built on a hill overlooking the old city in a way that might inspire delusions of grandeur in some people. This may go some way to explaining Limburg's newest tourist attraction. It was to be the living quarters and office of the bishop, with an estimated cost of around €2 million. But the increasingly extravagant tastes of Bishop Franz Peter Thebats van Elst and his constant demands for alterations caused costs to increase to 30 or 40 million, a fact he originally managed to conceal from his superiors. This garden alone, originally not intended to be open to the public, cost around 2/3 of a million. But it all had to come out in the end, and just as the new pope had instituted a spirit of humility to the church, so the bishop was relieved of his duties, leaving the diocese to wonder what to do with their new luxury office complex. Behind the cathedral, a small castle is perched on the edge of the hill. There's been a castle here since about the year 800, but the oldest parts that survive date from 1250. The historic Limburg grew rich on trade, and from the 13th century up until the First World War, a toll bridge proved a great money spinner. This stone bridge, built in 1315, replaced the wooden original. The old medieval city is very much intact. This street was the narrowest point on the road from Cologne to Frankfurt. Anyone ignoring the signs in Cologne and overloading their wagons had to pay locals to help them repack everything. Two buildings date from the 13th century. This one is Germany's oldest freestanding building, the oldest parts built about 1289. In the garden, an old mikveh, a Jewish ceremonial bath, was found. Even older, but not freestanding, is this house, probably built in the 1250s. It was here in 1802 that the notorious robber Johannes Buckler, better known as Schinderhannes, came in an attempt to evade justice, but was discovered and arrested. He was executed the following year. The House of the Seven Deadly Sins boasts carvings portraying the traditional vices: pride, avarice, envy, lust, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. This was the home of the aristocratic Walderdorfer family. Most of it is 17th century, but some older parts were preserved and integrated into the complex. Today, Limburg lies just inside of Hesse. The other side of the border, in modern Rhineland-Palatinate, is the little town of Diez. It's not known when, why, or by whom a castle was first built here, but the oldest surviving parts of the current building date from the 11th century. It was the home of the Counts of Diez, but after that line died out, it was eventually taken over by the Counts of Nassau. Today, it boasts a youth hostel and a museum.